Greetings and welcome to a Monday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is December 29th. Joseph, how we doing?
PJ! I can't believe they're letting us do this. We have the keys to the castle, the keys to the pod feed. Going to talk a little live, super hot stove, some TGL, and then some year in review, 3M and the Wyndham Championship. Some people say that's golf's fifth major. I'm excited to do this. Yesterday, to watch TGL, I had to kind of like break off from my family and for the purpose of watching a 2-hour TGL match. And my family was like, are you working? Is everything okay? I was like, yeah. Everything's good. I'm working. So that's where I am. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I would venture to go out on the limb and suggest this is probably the first episode on this podcast feed featuring neither Andy nor Brendan. So we're home alone, lost with the boys. We're running amok. This was we're just following instructions. We were encouraged to do this. Don't look at us. But we're here to talk TGL. We're here to give Mr. 1000 his due, his rightful due, as the powers that be did not want to actually finish out the year review season.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. They weren't going to talk about Cam Young, like many people in the golf world, not wanting to give him his due, which we will get to at the end of this episode. We have a special segment prepared. So I'm excited. Take it away.
This is great. All right. Well, we can start. It was close to a victory Monday for Mr. 1000 after a great comeback. I would say, again, led by Mr. 1000. But Billy Horschel, the greatest TGL player of all time, the banner got raised yesterday in the SoFi Center as the Atlanta Drive took the field, dome, whatever we want to call it again. Pitch. That's a good one. They did a banner raising ceremony. Nick Dunlap, notably not on the banner, kind of messed up. Personally, I feel like his contributions to a championship season should not be forgotten. But Billy hits the second longest putt in TGL history, takes down NYGC. What do you have any takeaways from this whatsoever? We're back for year 2. Here we are.
Oh yeah, tons of takeaways. I think we're trying to keep this to 40 minutes or so, so it'll be somewhat succinct.
Famous last words.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I believe it was Marty saying that Billy Horschel is the bane of New York's existence, yes. Not even just New York GC, but the entire city itself. So he might not be wrong, but Billy delivers again in a huge moment. Does Xander stink? I think is a huge question that comes out of yesterday. He was hitting. It's hard to chunk shots off turf. Xander might be bad. What do you think, PJ?
It was the chunk that he hit on the new the gill hole with the steeple and whatever the rock formation they're calling it. I forget the name of the hole.
Steeple and chase or something.
Yeah, steeple and chase. They were that was a bad shot. That was not good. He did a one-handed finish. Did not look good coming off. I saw you tweeted, "Can we trade him for Minwoo Lee in a second round pick?" I mean, it's possible. My favorite part about the whole thing is that we wake up Sunday morning, one of the last football Sunday of 2025. People are fired up. Again, this was going up against Bills Eagles, which could possibly be the Super Bowl. Unlikely, but when this was announced in August, that was a favored Super Bowl matchup.
Yeah, but this could also be the TGL final.
I mean, it was.
Yeah,
quite literally.
Right.
It was. But we wake up and we find out that Patrick Cantlay and Lucas Glover are not, as it turns out, taking the pitch for the Atlanta Drive. They scrounge up Corey Connors and Chris Gotterup to come fill in 2 hours ahead of the game. So my favorite part is that we found out, a top 15 player in the world, Patrick Cantlay, has an injury because of TGL. We did not know this otherwise, and now we do. So is Patrick Cantlay playing the Sodi? Probably not. Would he play the Century next week if it was happening? Who knows? But he did not play yesterday.
I think I'm in on TGL as a vessel for finding out about injuries. The other thing we found out, PJ, unbelievable bit of trivia. Who has hit the first hole-in-one in TGL history is Corey Connors, because apparently he's been on the roster the entire time. I think I saw somebody tweet that going back to the beginning of last year, he's been an alternate, and I guess he came in and hit a hole-in-one in one of the practice sessions. So that is an unbelievable bit of trivia that you will only know if you listened to this podcast or watched TGL yesterday, which I don't know exactly how many people that represents, but first hole-in-one in TGL history, Corey Connors.
So how do you think they ended up, if he has been on the roster since January 2025 and been actively practicing since January 2025, there were like 6 guys that just randomly dropped in. True. How is Corey Connors not in the top 6? Like, how did we get Nick Dunlap before we got Corey Connors? No offense to Nick Dunlap, but if you're, actively trying to win, Corey Connors is not, despite what Andy might have to say, Corey Connors is a nice player. A little bit more on the straight and narrow than Nick Dunlap these days.
That's also, well, definitely more on the straight and narrow than Nick Dunlap, though. That I think you and I are both more on the straight and narrow than Nick Dunlap these days. But that was a huge takeaway for me. Other huge takeaway, MVP of the whole thing, I think has to be Augie Pizá. Yeah, absolutely stuffing people into a locker with the stinger, which is the MVP hole of everything. I think this was the revelation. We've been saying this since the beginning, that every hole should look like the stinger, or it should be crazy pipes, like trampolines, hitting the stinger below the rocks. Xander got ejected. Like, this is what it should be. So, Xander got Piza'd, and he wasn't the only one.
No, I appreciated that. The stinger, Cenote is the par 3. I would like to see how can you position the pin so that everybody is not just bashing driver into the funnel and having it come back down. Because if that, I understand trying to play to one side and having it come down, like he hit it on the left and it's going to come down right there. But if you can put the pin in the front and not just make it a bass driver into this funnel, it adds a layer to the hole. But both guys, I think it was Billy and Xander, just hit driver into the funnel yesterday. So I feel like that is something that we can, no stone unturned. The Frogs teed up on Friday night here. Michael Thorpe Bjornsson, as first reported by the Shotgun Start and Rory McIlroy. So maybe they run it back. I hope they run it back. Were you moved by the team holes, which is another thing that people have been asking for a while now?
No, I don't think I'm particularly moved by the team holes. One thing I was moved by, the make percentages that are being displayed during TGL. Did you take note of this, PJ?
I didn't. I'm glad you did.
So these make percentages that they're showing are completely preposterous. And I think what's ultimately happening is it's just a very small sample size, and they're using data from last year on TGL, which fine. Like, it's not the numbers are wrong, but like Billy stood over a 40-footer and it briefly flashed make percentage of 0% before he hit the putt. Like, that's just not that is not the true make percentage. And the other thing, it showed like last season on the blue bonnet hole, if you're within 15 feet, you have a 64% make percentage. Outside 15 feet, 7%. Like, that is the most meaningless stat ever. If you're 2 feet, it's not 64%. And if you're 16 feet, it's not 7%. Like, they just chopped it up. Completely meaningless. Go ahead, PJ.
They also completely changed the green. It's not even the same thing anymore. Like, you on a 40-footer, I don't know if a 40-footer was available on last year's green. It is now. So, like, yeah, it's a 0 make percentage because it didn't exist. It wasn't real. This is like any PGA Tour event where they change out the greens and then they're like, oh, this is what happened last year. It's a different golf course. Like, you think we're going to be, I mean, maybe TPC Craig Ranch is not the greatest example, but like, are we going to be citing stats from last year's Byron Nelson when Lanny debuts his new track, which is open, by the way? You gonna make a trip up there? I feel like you have to.
I think that's one of the events in 2026 I'm most excited for. The whole Lanny Watkins restoration. I think it's a renovation, not a restoration. I'm excited for that. I don't know. I don't have a ton of other TGL notes. PJ, one thing, like, similar vein to the stat thing, Cam Young drove blue bonnet and he hit it to like 25 feet. And the announcer, it might have been Barry, was like, I don't think you're ever going to see a better drive on the blue bonnet. Like, I mean, he hit it to 25 feet on a drivable par 4. It's not like it was 420 yards and it bounced off a cart path to 5 feet. Like, you'll probably see a better drive on the blue bonnet. And I don't even know that matters.
No, I don't think it does either. And Cam, when he hit that, he was like, oh, I thought that was going to stop at like 4 feet, because it did look like it was going to stop at 4 feet. And then it just kept rolling. So who knows how any of this works anyway. I personally was disappointed that I'm hearing maybe it was because it was on television. This was on ABC, so it was on like real cable. That there was no ESPN Plus stream for this, which means you can't screenshot or screen record. So the memes were lacking. I hope that does not remain true for the rest of the year, because if it does, this time next year in review, there's going to be no TGL content because nothing is going to be on Twitter and there's going to be nothing to go back through. So
what a threat.
I mean, it's not a threat. It's just I found myself less motivated because I could not screen grab Steve Cohen reactions in the owner's box yesterday. I was upset by that. I might be the only one.
Another thing I had in my notes, they flashed a hammer sabermetrics graphic. The Atlanta Drive led at plus 21 points in hammer differential last year. PJ, do you think this is like turnovers in football where they're just, prime regression candidates? You can't run as hot with the hammer 2 years in a row, can you?
Well, I think when you have Patrick Cantlay controlling the math, I think you can actually, because as was revealed in the post-game press conference, NYGC, Xander just straight up forgot that the hammer existed when there were multiple times that they could have and probably should have mathematically thrown it. Yeah, they didn't even have the hammer flag in their pocket to throw it. So if you have Patrick Cantlay just demonstrating a level of care, I do think that this is not like a turnover, that you can carry this over year over year, because apparently people forget it exists. So step one is acknowledging that it's real, and Patrick Cantlay certainly has that down.
I do think there should be a special teams coordinator. And then when there's a hammer mishap like there was yesterday, there should be a press release on Monday. Like, we have relieved whoever of their special teams coordinator duties. There should be more press releases, not fewer. I think
you need to start treating these like real franchises. And that is step one to doing that. You have obviously the celebrity aspect. You have Keegan-Michael Key all over the box for NYGC. I think if you get coaches in the building and start, it's a culture building experience. Did you
hear what Keegan-Michael Key said about TGL?
It's the future of golf, brother.
He said it's the future of golf.
It might be. I don't know.
It's not. No, it's not.
It could be. Who's to say?
It could be part of the future of golf. It is not the future of golf. Let's make that distinction.
Are you excited for Friday? Are you excited for the Frogs to see? Are you going to be like locked in as you were yesterday for the Frogs attempting to get off the schneid?
I think on this family trip, asking for one Sunday afternoon was a pretty significant ask. Fair. While everyone else is entertaining little kids and stuff. Doing that again on Friday after I'm also going to the Rose Bowl. I think taking multiple big chunks away from family is probably not going to happen Friday night, but who knows?
That's fair. I mean,
are you?
I'll probably watch it just because what else am I going to do? But on the grand scheme of ESPN's weekend programming, Friday night TGL, and then I believe they have two of the good football games on Saturday. They have Seattle, San Francisco, and the NFC South game. I have a feeling that ESPN might put this third. ESPN also did not know when yesterday was happening. They sent out multiple emails, like how to watch, push notifications, press releases saying TGL returns today, Saturday at 3 p.m. on ABC. And we're in the void, right? This is a Monday episode. Listen to this whenever you want. Nobody knows what day it is anymore. There's NFL every day, which is not easy to keep track of what day is Sunday, whatever. I'm sitting there on Saturday going, I didn't know what day it was. I knew TGL started on Sunday. I'm getting these emails and push notifications. I was completely in the blender. And I find it hilarious that even ESPN doesn't care.
Can you relay, this is not the same thing, but can you relay what you texted me last night about what was happening in New York on the airwaves?
I can actually.
This is insane.
I change over after the football game ends, put on the news, try to see what the weather is, because we've been getting a lot of snow. So just going for the weather report. I'm like half paying attention. Sports segment comes on.
New York local news.
New York, ABC 7, local news. Like number one media market in the country. Obviously, both football teams suck. Both hockey teams suck. Not a lot going on these days. However, a football Sunday, I'm zoned out. I just hear somebody say Liberty National, and my head shoots up. and I see TGL highlights for NYGC on the 11 o'clock news. And I lost it. I could not believe what was happening. I could not believe
local news. They're treating the New York Golf Club like a local New York. I mean, maybe this happened last year and we just didn't see it, but that is insane, PJ.
On a football Sunday on which the Giants lost the number 1 pick and the Jets are the worst team in the history of the NFL in the month of December. Literally the worst point difference. Not to bring up, I don't have a Nico minute to even this out, but I'll just throw this in here. The New York Jets have the worst point differential in a single month in NFL history for December 2025. But no, we got to talk about Xander Schauffele instead on the local news. Amazing. It was amazing. It was honestly incredible. So TGL is breaking into the market. They didn't need to compete against football. They certainly didn't need to compete against the Giants and the Jets. They won that competition. It's over.
I was going to say our chances of keeping this to 40 minutes just went down a lot over the last 15.
Yeah. We're off to the races now. You have a live article that you have to surprise me. There's been plenty of live news at the 11th hour here of 2025, but you take the reins on this. You go.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much we want to get to there was the Brooks Koepka announcing that he will not be back.
Well, Talor Gooch announced that he was the captain of Smash GC.
Right. Liv packaged a Brooks Koepka is leaving announcement as Talor Gooch will assume the roles of the captaincy. And we were getting ready to record here, about to hop on, and you texted me, I think I'm going to need like an extra 10 minutes. No problem with surfing around on the internet. And PJ, I might have come across one of my favorite articles of 2025. This is a Mike McAllister article.
I'm ready.
On Talor Gooch becoming captain. And he spoke with Talor to get some quotes. So this must have been over the last couple of days. Okay. Did you see this?
No.
God, I really hope that people who are listening haven't seen this, because this is the type of thing that doesn't really, I don't think, get a ton of social media play. But for people like us, this is one of the best articles in the world. Well,
to be fair, they put out this Talor Gooch captaincy thing apparently like 20 minutes before anybody realized. Like they put it up on the website. So to be completely honest, no, I don't know if anybody has seen this. I think you might have discovered it.
Let's get into this article. So I'm not going to read the entire thing. You absolutely should.
Okay.
But it starts with when Live Golf was launched in summer of 2022 with its inaugural event in London, Talor Gooch was one of the league's 12 captains. As part of his duties as leader of Torquay GC, he was responsible for drafting 3 players to complete his roster. Torquay, pronounced with 1 syllable back then, as opposed to the current 2-syllable iteration, finished 4th that week, just 2 shots shy of the podium. It was a dynamic time, and Gooch embraced every moment. But it was also one and done as Torquay captain. Before the next tournament in Portland, Gooch joined Dustin Johnson's 4 Aces as part of Live Golf's first dominant lineup, with the team reeling off 4 consecutive regular season wins. Gooch was a key part of that success, but he also never forgot his brief time in charge. So I'm going to get to more of the article, but first of all, did you know that the pronunciation of Torquay, the official 1 versus 2 syllable, that was kind of an official thing in canon here now?
No, I did not. I did not remember Talor Gooch being the captain of Torque, I guess, at this point.
Yep.
By chance, do you have who was on his team that week?
No.
Is it? I'm going to look that up because I'm just morbidly curious. But I mean, Talor Gooch at this point in 22 was like a top 30 player in the world. It was like a moderately big deal.
According to Greg Norman, he might have been the best.
In OWGR, he was. It was like a real loss.
I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's the spirit of it is he got a taste of the captaincy, and ever since then he's been clamoring to get back in that seat, and he learned some things along the way, PJ. So it's a role the 34-year-old Gooch has been preparing for the last few years, playing with Johnson under the 4 Aces, Bubba Watson with the Range Goats, and Koepka the last 2 years at Smash. He's seen how those multiple major winners have approached the captaincy. Each has a distinct style, and Gooch was able to pull traits from each one. DJ was very hands-off, according to Gooch, which I think kind of tracks.
That is a stunning development. You are just now telling me for the very first time.
A couple lines on Bubba, don't need to get into, but this was interesting. Some breaking news, I believe. One of the reasons Gooch jumped to Smash in 2024 was to learn from Koepka, who offered to loop in Gooch on front office processes as the league continued to evolve and grow. He wanted me to be alongside the growth in the future of what Smash looked like, not just making birdies, but from a decision-making perspective and leadership perspective. And I said to him, I only want to make this move if I can have a voice in this thing. So I didn't know that. That was part of the recruitment pitch, that Talor Gooch was kind of being groomed to be captain of the Smash GC. So this is not like he's going to be caught off guard by the most recent, the week's most recent events. A couple more things, PJ.
What is Kokrak thinking?
I don't know if Kokrak was, in the loop on some of that stuff. So this is probably
he owns part of the team. How is he not in the loop?
We should try to get quotes from Kokrak about this article.
This is, if you're Kokrak, you're looking in the mirror. Do you think Matt Wolff is regretting he could have been the Smash captain?
I don't think Matt Wolff's ever been bought in enough to be Smash captain. A couple more things here, PJ, and then would love your reaction to this article. But a huge Oklahoma City Thunder fan, Gooch has taken note of how his hometown team rose to the top of the NBA with last season's championship. He talks about culture,
by
its executive team.
97 first-round picks, and you can draft whoever you want whenever you want them.
No, that's not why they've been successful, because he got a story from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the best player on the Thunder.
Why is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander talking to Talor Gooch?
He got the story from him. I don't know if they spoke directly. He talked about one day when he came into the facility, he saw all the basketball racks in the facility and noticed that all the Wilson logos on the basketballs were facing the same direction, Gooch recalled. He said he had never noticed such attention to detail within an organization. It's little nuggets like that I pay attention to, because winning doesn't just happen by chance. So I think you're going to start to see some more attention to detail on Smash GC starting next year, PJ. And then the only other thing, two other quick notes. Gooch has what he refers to as the rule of 67. If you shoot 67, everything else takes care of itself. No, don't do this. Don't do the 6-7 thing. There's a joke made about that in the article. We're not going to get to that. Gooch says maybe you should have.
No. You have to say it now.
I don't have the exact article, but basically, Gooch says he probably should have trademarked 6-7. But sorry for all the parents out there if they're listening with kids in the car. And then the last thing, great quote from Gooch. I'm way more prepared now for all the obvious reasons, and I think part of it is the maturation of the league. In the beginning, there was so much turmoil, and I didn't mind playing the villain. It was easy for me to get people going with some of the comments I had. Now, the more mature Talor Gooch, speaking in third person here, is able to look at things a little bit differently with the new direction we're going as a league. So he's kind of breaking down the wall here. He's acknowledging that he played the villain role, and with some of the comments he made early on in the league, he was trying to rile people up successfully, I might add. So, PJ, what do you make of this article? Is it as amazing as I think it is?
I first of all, I don't know that I'm surprised that Talor Gooch has put this amount of thought into the levels of Smash GC. This tracks from everything we've come to know about Talor Gooch. I'm happy for him. It seems like this is a role that he wanted and is excited to step into. As a guy who closely has followed Sam Presti's teachings, clearly, excited to see what he does with the roster flexibility, now having an open spot and now with him in control. Again, I would like to know the ownership oversight on who got Brooks's shares. Does Brooks still own the team? Is Brooks financially invested in Talor Gooch's success here? What does Jason Kokrak have to say? That is something. I did not think I was going to wake up and I have Smash compared to the Oklahoma City Thunder today. But here we are. Congrats to Talor Gooch. I did go back and I have found a listing from his team the last time he was a captain in 2022 at Live London. Torque, captained by Talor Gooch, featured Hudson Swafford, Andy Ogletree, and Adrian Otaegui.
Hasn't aged super well.
So, would you call himself, Graham McDowell, Jason Kokrak, an unnamed fourth player, maybe an upgrade over that team?
Yes. But look, back then, you didn't have as much to work with, right? You were kind of dealing with scraps. in June of 2022. But now, yeah, we'll see what he can cook up. But apparently there's so much in this article I would recommend. That his PBR team, his bull riding team, is apparently struggling. So he's trying, kind of the thesis of this whole article is that Taylor's trying to take all these lessons from different sports, to put together a good team.
If he's interested in a fishing team, I know a guy that might be able to help him out. You know, Scottie's a big fishing team guy. Ben Simmons is apparently a big fishing team guy. Mm-hmm. That way you can get the basketball and the fishing all at once. You're just combining sports. Congrats to Talor Gooch. Do we want to talk Brooks for like 5 minutes here? I know you.
Bryson
you wrote,
too.
And Bryson too. Bryson talked to Flushing It about his future. Does not have a contract extension. Flushing It. Tom spoke to him after the whole Brooks thing came out. You wrote about it. You wrote about Brooks at least with KVV a little bit last week. Your takeaways now that we're 6 days out from. I would call it shocking timing. I don't know that it was shocking news. This had been like around that he was not really happy with how things were going for a while, but now the fallout of what happens now and the immediate PGA Tour comms statement after this news leaks, which to me was my favorite part.
Yeah, I don't know. People gave PGA Tour comms a lot of flack for that. I didn't think it was that bad. Like they basically put out a statement immediately, which indicates they knew that it was coming.
Yeah.
That said, we wish Brooks the best.
I mean, Eamon wrote a column 2 weeks ago now alluding to the same things. And so this was not like, I don't think it was blindsiding that this happened. I feel like the timing on, 6 o'clock on December 23rd was kind of funny. But other than that, I don't know that anybody is like downright stunned by the actual news occurring.
No, I think my high level takeaways, it just confirms that Brooks wasn't happy. And those rumors were always rumbling around, but I think this is pretty clear confirmation that Brooks would rather pay back whatever arrangement they have, pay back millions of dollars. I don't know what the equity in his team looks like, but give that back, whatever, instead of playing one more year on LIV. I think that's a pretty strong indication of how content he was. And then this is the first big name to stop playing on LIV Golf. And I just think this overall offseason from LIV has not been inspiring. And my overall assessment is that 2026 is kind of a make it or break it year for LIV, especially now with these comments from Bryson that, as you mentioned, he talked to Flushing It. I don't know that these comments mean a whole lot. Like this could just be a negotiating tactic from Bryson. He basically says, like, who knows?
This is great. I mean, we talked about this throughout the year. Are we seeing contract year LIV players? Is like Harold Varner going to show up and play his ass off because he needs a new deal? You want to be a real sports league. Posturing through the media for a new contract is a time-honored tradition. This is right up a real league's alley.
I don't know if you had any quotes you want to read from Bryson, but he basically says a lot of things need to change and that Scott's done a great job so far, but that a lot of things do need to change. Which, is this the first time Bryson has said that? Because I think anytime Bryson's been asked about LIV, he's more or less said that things are all going in the right direction and that he's pretty thrilled with where things are. But him coming outright and saying things need to change might be the first acknowledgement we've had from Bryson that this league doesn't have all the momentum that it might purport to have on social media. So to me, it is kind of a make it or break it year for LIV. Not that, they can fund this thing as long as they want, I'm sure, as we've seen. But with Bryson's contract coming up, if they were to not re-sign Bryson, and we have this offseason where they didn't really add anybody, like, where's it going?
Bryson is obviously the key to everything. Is the one guy who they need, who has seemingly bought in. Obviously, like, interview part 9, we did the Howard Dean speech in Dallas. Like, you didn't see Talor Gooch getting up there and doing that. Like, Bryson has been the face of the league, although maybe not its best player, certainly its most famous player. If you lose Bryson, then what are you really doing here? You have Jon Rahm locked in, but what good is that realistically doing for you at this point? And we will get into it maybe a little bit in the year in review segment for the end of the year here. Like, I was listening back to our episodes after the 3M, and Joaquin Niemann won for the 5th time that week. And you called this is the worst case scenario, that this guy is just cleaning up on LIV and cannot do anything in the majors, got his yellow square this year, but was non-competitive in doing so. Like, okay, you have Joaquin Niemann and Abraham Answer and the end of Justin Johnson's career and John Rahm. Like, what is that really at the end of the day? And Talor Gooch, I guess you could even throw him in there.
Yeah,
like,
they're building something.
What does that do? Who is watching that? The almighty DP World Tour. Fine, discussion is still ongoing here with your two best players that are not named Bryson DeChambeau are involved in this legal battle now that is going to come to a head at any given moment, as has been the threat here. So yeah, if you lose Bryson, the guy who's been bought in this whole time, then you're right that this is the alarming, the first sign of things needed to change from the guy who has been all hunky-dory about this the entire time has to be raise some level of alarm bells in Live HQ, wherever that is these days.
And I think there are some rumblings that John Rahm doesn't buy into everything and acknowledges that his top 10 streak wasn't the most impressive feat in sports. So who are the people who are actually championing?
Well, the benefit of John Rahm to Live is that seemingly he's locked in and it can't go anywhere. So
yeah.
That he cannot buy into whatever he wants. It doesn't seem like that's going to change anything anytime soon.
Yeah. I think the main thing to watch is people are rightly calling out, like, what does the PGA Tour do? Do they create a pathway back for somebody like Brooks immediately or make him serve a year suspension? So we'll see how that unfolds. I think the other part that could be interesting with Bryson is, does he even go back to the PGA Tour? Like, what if he does just decide, I'm going to be a YouTube golfer and play the majors, which would be nuts. I don't think that's a super realistic outcome, but something to just something to monitor where these high profile names end up.
I mean, it would be incredible. It would be incredible to awesome. See him even attempt that. It would be sick. But at some point, you have to keep winning majors is the problem if you're going to do that. The major he has won does not give you a lifetime exemption. So it's not like you could just keep showing up for the next however many years and playing your way into the others. So, more power to
going to happen, PJ.
Please.
There's a 100% chance there's going to be a YouTube golf event where the participants, and I don't need to call them out by name, but you can guess a few of who I'm talking about here, advocate for spots in majors. If Bryson is hosting a YouTube tournament with the top they're going to think that the winner of that should get into the majors.
If Bryson loses a YouTube tournament, basically anybody, that's bad. This is not good. I feel like we don't have to give out major spots to them. Please don't. But if anybody not named Bryson gets one of the major spots, would be an even bigger disaster.
I mean, 7 or 8 people beat Wesley Bryan at the Crater Classic at Sawgrass. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen, but I'm hopeful that one day we will not find out. I mean, what do you think they do with Brooks right now on December 29th at 2:00 p.m. Eastern time?
I have no insight. I think they'll probably leave him. I think they'll probably have the year suspension in place, and then he can play DP World Tour, take time off, do whatever he wants to do, and then he'll have status from his major win to be in the non-signature events. And then in 2027, who knows? Maybe they'll change the way status works, and Brooks it's a different schedule, and we don't even have the signature event model anymore. I don't know, but I think Brooks probably has status on the PGA Tour in 2027 should he want to use it, and is suspended until then. Seems like the cleanest solution, but I don't know. What do you think?
Do you think they're missing out by not having him at all in 2026 now that he is quote unquote available?
I don't think super meaningfully, no. Do you?
I think I think there will be a level of curiosity from casual people the first time he shows up, whenever that is. I don't know. I don't know if you're going to get. I think the impact of that will be lessened in 2027 after we see him 4 times this year, and you'll get quotes from him at least Augusta the next time by now. But if somehow Brian Rolapp shows up, this has been a conspiracy theory on the internet that Brian Rolapp is not connected to any of this, does not have any of these prior experiences with Liv, and was not there when everything schismed. So he'll be like, oh, we want the TV draw back. We want what at one point was one of the best players in the world back because it'll make our tour better. Like, I don't know. Could you imagine Brooks showing up to Phoenix in 6 weeks? Like, that would be pretty sick. I think you would have a lot of people. Harry Higgs tweeted out like immediately in response to the PGA Tour comms tweet being like, let's take a poll of everybody like in Gladiator, just like yes or no, thumbs up or thumbs down. Like, some people would be angry. Some people I'm sure would be excited, but like Brooks coming back to Phoenix would be a huge thing. I think that obviously Phoenix is not like the greatest week to transcend into larger sport, given that the biggest sporting event in the country is happening at the same time, but it does. Like, that's what I was just going to say. Like, yeah, you'll have the Super Bowl, but because I actually think it might be beneficial because the Super Bowl allows so much more media just existing that week at Radio Row or whatever. Like, I feel like Brooks at Phoenix would transcend a little bit and would push into the Super Bowl media hype to the point where it would be beneficial. And if he plays well, great. Obviously, horse for the course, has played well there in the past plenty of times. Who knows what shape his game is currently in. It wasn't in great shape the last time we saw him trying to make cuts on the DP World Tour. But I do think if you wait until 2027, the impact of his return, quote unquote, in whatever form that's going to be, is just lessened because we will have seen him 4 times and we would have heard the story before that. I think if the PGA Tour wants to capitalize on the name brand and maybe like, you know, are they interested in fighting Liv at this point? Who even knows? But the minor win of having him back, I think it's got to be in 2026. I think waiting until 2027, nobody cares at that point.
Sure. I just don't think it's that big of a win to get him. It might last for like 2 weeks. And then the other thing to consider is that if you let him back pretty seamlessly and without penalty, it does remove a deterrent for guys to then go sign with Liv if they know that they don't even have to serve the 1 year suspension if they're a big enough name. So I think there are trade-offs there. I don't know what they're going to do. I kind of trust Brian Rolap to handle this intelligently, but if he sits out a year and then plays in 2027, I don't think that's a wasted opportunity, really. We have 3 minutes for the year in review.
We have 3 minutes for the year in review. Cam Young won the Wyndham. I don't know if anybody heard. That was sick. All right, you want to just get to your interview? You want to keep moving? Do you have any more questions?
We probably should.
You got nothing else on Bryson?
I mean, it seems like he's posturing, as you've said, and probably trying to secure a bigger offer. He has all the leverage in the world, and he knows that. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a make it or break it year for Liv. They have to build some positive momentum. They haven't done anything this offseason. They couldn't get Siwoo Kim. Like, anytime his name would come up in a rumor, he would shoot it down immediately. So I don't know. Outside of the Liv South Africa event, which will probably be good, I don't really know what kind of momentum there is going into 2026. So that feels to me like the biggest outcome from all this, and Bryson is saying it. So I think that is more notable, him saying things need to change, than the fact that his contract's coming up.
That's good old fashioned media posturing. That's what really matters. Liv is firmly in the grasp here. You know, Chet's going to be posturing for a Supermax, just like Talor Gooch, I'm sure, is following. Bryson is posturing for a new contract. It's great. All right, let's go to your review. Part 10. We're not doing the playoffs. Sorry. Even we don't care about that. We're here for one reason and one reason only, to discuss Kurt Kityama being the greatest player of all time at Arnold Palmer designed courses.
I think this is part of the deal, right? For us to do your interview and to do Cam Young's win at the Wyndham Championship, we also had to do the 3M Open. So yes. Yeah, let's get that out of the way.
So we come back from Portrush here. You just pull up a brilliant tweet on Thursday morning from Royal Portrush to this, and it's just a photo of a green. Kevin Kisner is playing. He's in the field this week. Carson Young, Kevin Kisner on the screen with a pond and just some houses in Blaine, Minnesota in the background. And this is, you had the tweet that we showed at the end of the last episode saying the next time all of these guys have to play is in Memphis, going back to the Kyle Porter tweet. This is just going even further off of that, playing at TPC Sod Farms in a residential park after one of the great Open Championship venues.
Yeah, I don't think it can be overstated how bad this golf course is. It really should be turned back into a sod farm. Brendan also had a great tweet this week. I think it was a reply to that tweet you have pulled up there where they showed the overhead of the different, they showed like 3 different holes highlighted and the scoring averages for the week. And Brendan remarked that, he likes how they even have the details down to the backyard pools. I mean, this place is just dropped in a suburb. So terrible, terrible event, but let's get through it. We have to talk about it.
We have to talk about it. Those are the rules. My first thing is Scottie gets on the plane from Portrush, goes right to the city for the Happy Gilmore premiere, and is featured on the red carpet in a video posted to the PGA Tour social channels. They ask him, what is he holding? He's holding the claret jug, and he calls it the Open Championship trophy. People got super pissed off about this. People were not happy that Scottie was calling it the Open Championship trophy, but also the Brendan had a tweet calling it, the something about the degrading culture of our society that, we just had the oldest championship in the world, the greatest player in the world winning it, and he shipped off to the Happy Gilmore 2 premiere in New York City. A lot of Happy Gilmore 2 this week. The movie, I think, comes out on Friday, early week. Bryson is there, obviously. He speaks to People magazine at the premiere because that's a sentence, apparently, that happened. No idea. And they asked him if he's ready to take on Rory at the Ryder Cup. And he says, I'll be chirping in his ear this time. Now, if we go up against each other, you could be sure of it. I'll get into his ear a little bit after Rory does not speak to him at the Masters. Obviously, we did not get this. We got Rory versus Scottie instead. But Bryson just setting the tone immediately for the rematch that never happened.
I got nothing on that other than just thinking back to some of the comments Brendan made about Scottie going to see Happy Gilmore premiere. And I think his tweet was toned down from some of the stuff he might have been saying in person. I was with him getting on a flight, and he was absolutely aghast that is how we celebrate now, compared to Shane Lowry going and having a drink in a local bar, and Scottie going to Happy Gilmore. Kind of a tale of two worlds there.
Well, also on one of the episodes this week, we were discussing, Scottie's food tastes. I think food got brought up at some point in the Portrush discourse, and we were saying, Scottie just, he's in Dallas. Dallas is not a great food city, talking about Chili's and Capitol Grills and things of that nature, just keeping it as simple as possible, tying it in. Do you remember that this happened? Because I didn't until probably an hour ago when I found this tweet. Minwoo Lee does a Drewski collab presented by Dunkin' Donuts.
Worst sentence ever.
This is like a 10-minute video. I didn't watch it. I just took this screenshot because it was preposterous. But Minwoo Lee obviously is prominently featured across PGA Tour social media. This is also the week that it comes out that he was partying at Justin Bieber's album release event. He's pictured with Justin and Hailey Bieber. Big Minwoo Lee week. Not because of anything he did playing golf, but just the celebrity of Minwoo Lee, Dr. Chapinski, is partying with Drewski.
I noticed that segment is called Truth or Putt, and
yes,
that kind of makes sense. They weren't going to do Truth or Iron Shot, I'll tell you that
much. There you go. I could have done Truth or Chip because, you could have called the doctor.
They could do that. They could do that.
Could have gotten that. This was my favorite thing I found for 3M week. We just discussed Bryson potentially becoming a full-time YouTuber someday. John Rahm, not interested in YouTube. Has no interest in YouTube. Tommy Fleetwood had just started his YouTube channel. Dylan Fratelli had started his YouTube channel in the surrounding weeks here. John Rahm, not interested. Quote, the main argument, and I can't stress this enough against doing it, is that I just don't think I would have the time to balance family, golf, and YouTube. I have 3 young kids. At some point, I just don't think I would have the time to do it. It would be too much of a sacrifice of either me practicing or family time. And as of right now, that's not something I'm willing to do. He's perfectly happy appearing on channels. He's playing with those guys as a way of getting exposed to their audience, presumably in the live duels. But he doesn't have the energy to find the time to do a channel himself. So Bryson's got his own channel. Tommy's got his own channel. Jason Day, Dylan Fratelli. Everybody's got a YouTube channel. John Rahm doesn't have the time. No thanks. I'm good playing with Wesley Bryan in the duels.
Sounds about right, PJ. Again, in the interest of time, I don't have a lot of thoughts on that other than respecting it. We don't need everyone to be a thirst bucket.
Oh, it's just I found it interesting as Liv has become the the haven for YouTube golfers that are not suspended from the PGA Tour. Apparently, John Rahm has no interest in getting in here. What else do we even have? Liv this week says that it won't pay the DP World Tour fine starting in 2026. The ensuing discussion about Rahm, Hatton, and Sergio Garcia, of course, inserts himself into the conversation about, well, what does this mean for me in my Ryder Cup future? Can I potentially be a captain someday? The Augusta Hooters, unfortunately, announces that it has seen its last day this week. I believe this is Friday of this week. It's not torn down yet. It's not fully demolished, but it is closed and will not be back for next year. This, I have no recollection of either, but a Brentley tweet. Patton Kizzire apparently hit the 3M logo floaty in the pond on the 18th hole on Friday. Comes up short and hits the thing and bounces over the green and was able to get up and down for a birdie. And they had to move the floaty deeper into the pond so nobody would be capable of hitting it on the weekend. Do you remember this happening at all?
No, I wouldn't have come up with it, but now that you're saying it, I kind of do remember that. But no, I wouldn't have come up with it.
I actually think we should incentivize this. I think this is a good thing. I think we should put them as close as possible. And if you have the balls to go do that, more power to you.
Look, this is a long-standing position. I think we should have grass in water hazards so that you might cross. Like 6 at Bay Hill, I have always felt like when Bryson is attempting that drive, there should be like a little strip of grass that he could clear the hazard at somewhere and drop there and then walk the plank out and we could have discussions. Did it cross or not? Like I'm in on that.
I think, are you in on the maybe TGL-ification of the 3M Open, or the Rocket has a logo and a pond that is sometimes hittable? Like, do you think this should be used on the PGA Tour?
I'm not in on the TGL-ification of the 3M Open because I'm in on the demolition of the 3M Open.
Well, you might get your wish.
Yeah.
I mean, we discussed the 2027 schedule change. You might, as it turns out, get your wish.
Fair enough.
Kurt Kityama wins this event. Is the GOAT of Arnold Palmer designs, as you say. You said Andy is lost on a boat somewhere. Brendan's at the beach, so it's a boys episode for Monday morning. And you say that we've been discussing Matt Jordan. If we played links golf every week, Matt Jordan would be a top 10 player in the world. If we played an Arnold Palmer design every week, would Kurt Kityama be a top 10 player in the world?
Easily.
Stands to possibly be true with the information we've been getting.
Didn't he shoot like 60 with a bogey on Sunday?
Yeah, he was very, very good on Sunday. I think he had a good Saturday as well. It was a bad ZB was in contention here. Jake Knapp had a bad Sunday, but was in contention.
Akshay was terrible. Yep. He was in the mix and was terrible on Sunday.
Yeah,
He's hitting everywhere.
I remember Kitty Cat winning. I don't remember a lot else of this event. What else did you have involved here?
There was a stinky sponsor exemption on the Corn Ferry Tour.
Oh, I had this too.
You have this?
Yeah.
Wasn't it a Corn Ferry Tour exec? Go ahead. If you have this, go for it.
No, so I just have the information. So it comes out. Brendan does some digging after this guy plays. The company Corn Ferry, the title sponsor of the Corn Ferry Tour, has the right to one spot in the field every single week, which is a ridiculous statement. So they picked an executive at Corn Ferry, some finance guy, to play in the event. They make like a LinkedIn like congratulatory post, like congrats. I'll leave his name out of it, but congrats.
Dan Masello.
Okay, there we go. Congrats, Dan. Good luck this week. And this is the Chicago event. Johnny Kiefer wins. Top 50 player in the world, Johnny Kiefer, wins this event. Dan Masello gets this LinkedIn treatment from Corn Ferry, the actual, and all the comments are like, oh my God, how great is this? How great is this? He shoots a 91 on Thursday, and unsubstantiated rumor is forced to withdraw. They completely force him out. Brendan is beside himself. Can't believe this is happening. That this is like an insult to his playing partners. This is an insult to guys trying to make it on the KFT, trying to get points for the PGA Tour. All of this. A lot of people on Twitter disagree with this sentiment, saying, it's the fourth best tour in the world. Who really cares? It's not really about that. It's more about this is professional sports, and you can't just give sponsors exemptions to random finance guys from Corn Ferry. But this was a big talking point of the week.
Yeah. Other stuff I can kind of remember from the week. Isn't this when Rory stops by the Senior Open?
Yes. The Senior Open is this week. Padraig wins. This is, I think it's a great thing to see Rory at Sunningdale. Coincidence. Justin Leonard was inspired, as you found out. He plays well this week at the Senior Open, but I think, maybe Rory was going to see Justin Leonard in competition for the second week in a row. And I just hope he enjoyed his time. Maybe when we do lunch with Rory, I think we need to dig a little bit on Sunningdale. I think this was also, it might have been the next week where he was in Ibiza and at the club, and the guy asked him where the green jacket was, and he said it was on the yacht. That's also around this time too. So Rory is not playing Memphis. That comes out during Wyndham week, and Pepe Peter says there needs to be a Rory rule, which is a hilarious statement that I can't believe was said. But it gets funnier as time and time goes. But what else do you have on the 3M here?
No, we can litigate this during lunch, but I really want to keep the storyline going. And I think everyone needs to do their part, ask him questions, etc. That the reason Rory isn't planning to play on the Champions Tour is because he doesn't think his game will translate to those setups. I want to plant that seed and water it and water it and water it. I actually don't think he would win on the Champions Tour. I really don't. Like he's the setups, it's a little more of a precision game. Bernie Langer. I don't think Rory would win. So let's just keep that going.
Well, we're here. We're 10 hours away from Tiger's 50th birthday. While we're here, do you think, Tiger maybe not competing on the Champions Tour initially, would that give Rory some pause that if Tiger can't do it, I can't do it either?
It could. I think clearly there's some concern in the McIlroy camp about how his game stacks up to, Phoenix Country Club. We know you can do it at everywhere else, but you get to a Champions Tour setup, it's a completely different equation. So
no, I mean you're playing in the Boeing Classic and you see those tee markers with propeller planes and it just gets in your head. You can't do it. You cannot do it. And that is a fact at this point. I'd welcome it not being a fact someday, but right now I would call that a fact. That's a factual statement.
Yeah. No, I don't really have anything else from the 3M other than the most important storyline of the week. You are cheering hard that we do not get a new winner on the PGA Tour this week because we are sitting at 999. Kurt Kityama wins, a repeat winner, so we are still at 999 and safe for Cam Young to be the potential 1,000th winner. No spoilers, we'll get to the Wyndham week, but that's pretty much the most important thing that happens during the 3M Open.
I mean, it was close. As I pull up the leaderboard here, Sam Stevens lost by one shot in the end after a strong Sunday. Sam Stevens has never won. We were in real danger. I was pulling for Kitty Cat. I remember betting Jake Knapp just because I needed Jake Knapp to win. And I was just trying to will it into existence. Like I was looking at the field being like, who realistically has a chance to be a repeat winner? Thank God for the Kitty Cat realistically, because without him, we would not be doing this episode. Things could be wildly different. The United States could have lost the Ryder Cup by like 9 billion points, apparently. So Kurt Kityama, I would go so far as to say, as we transition to the Wyndham Championship here, American hero, Kurt Kityama.
I like where you're going with that.
American hero. Really did a lot for not only this podcast, not only us personally, but the United States of America. I really think when we get to maybe the President's Cup roster, and you look maybe who's going to be the 11th, 12th man, give Kurt Kityama a look. Brant, just look at what he did and look at where we are now as a golfing country because of his sacrifice at the 3M Open.
Well said. Should we as we approach the hour mark, should we get into golf's fifth major?
Let's do it. I mean, this is, we talked about Rory, Donald Ross course in North Carolina, and a big win by one of golf's premier players. Fact.
I mean, technically I have the Wyndham, but I think jump in. Jump in.
We're loaded. We're ready to go.
Yeah, we'll go through this. Hopefully at a decent pace. Starting the week in non-Wyndham Championship news, a good soundbite from Charlie Hull before we get to the Wyndham. PJ, do you have this queued up? So she's getting ready for the AIG Women's Open at Royal Porthcawl, and this is kind of a one for the golf diehards, especially those who might be in the pro rollback camp. Charlie Hull articulates very well why we've lost some skill in the game. PJ, go ahead and roll that tape if you have it queued.
Imagine yourself in the late 1860s playing golf with little feathery balls and things like that.
I'd love that. I think it would be so much fun. I think to be fair, I think golf back 20, 30 years ago, like say 19 up to like 2000s, it was more of an art. Like the players, like even the men would have to hit draws and fades to stop it in. But I think where now it's become more of a power game, and where it's become the technology's advanced so much, everyone just can hit it straight and far, and it's kind of taken the art away from it. Like whenever I watch golf, I watch, Shell's Wonderful World of Golf and all that lot, or like who won the British Open in like 1970s and that. I found it way more interesting back then. Like I wouldn't watch golf now, really.
I wouldn't watch golf now, really. So good quote from Charlie Hull there.
Great quote.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Charlie Hull content, and I think this is some of my favorite Charlie Hull content. Speaking to the spirit of the game. So good quote there. Moving on to the Wyndham, as you have said, one of the storylines from this week, when the Friday night field comes out for next week's St. Jude, Rory McIlroy is not in the field, which prompts some discussion, including from Peter Malnati. Does there need to be a Rory rule, skipping the playoff event? Brendan brings up that sponsor exemptions should go to players like Hayden Springer, who was just outside coming into this week, instead of people like Zach Johnson. So maybe an ongoing thing to monitor going into the last week of the year where players' status is on the line, giving out these sponsor exemptions to has-beens instead of the people who are actively fighting for their careers. Probably something to evaluate. So another instance of sponsor exemptions coming under the microscope. PJ, you might need to answer for this one. I was re-listening to the Wednesday episode of the Shotgun Start. Andy's doing his one and done pick and kind of trying to deliberate between Adam Scott and Cam Young. And you almost kind of sway him towards Adam Scott. That it was weird. It was, despite having enthusiasm for Cam Young, you also were kind of encouraging him to go with Adam Scott. And he does go with Adam Scott, a very costly mistake, as we'll find out shortly.
Well, in my defense, I remember Will Knight gets mad at both of us, again, not to spoil anything, wants to publicly shame the two of us for having already used Cameron Young. And the thing about a one and done league is when you use somebody, you cannot inherently use them again.
Correct.
So shame on us for thinking that Cameron Young would have won the Rocket, where historically he should have won like 3 different times already. So shame on us for not seeing the vision. I will say at this point, we're already like 2 weeks into Mr. 1000 hype, that the shot was already called. But Adam Scott did need, I think he needed to top 5 to like lock up the playoffs and keep his streak alive. He needed to play really, really well. Cam was in the playoffs. I think he was like 40th entering this week. So he was locked up. He was in already. So there was a little more motivation for Adam Scott, I would say, than any random PGA Tour event.
Moving on. So I don't know when it was the first time you tweeted Mr. 1000. I think it was like around July 22nd or July 23rd. So
yeah, it was like the day after the Open. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had called your shot. PGA Tour puts out there the next unique winner is the 1000th. You put out Mr. 1000, Cameron Young. He opens with 63-62. So he pretty much grabs this tournament by the horns right away. Yep, there's your tweet. Mr. 1000. What's the date on that?
The 23rd.
Yeah, unbelievable. Babe Ruth calling a shot. He pretty much leads this thing from start to finish. So open 63-62. The plays interrupted with some weather delays. We do the whole, like, they're trying to jam Cam Young. Yep, there's the He's on fire. I think that was Friday.
Friday afternoon.
Friday.
Yeah.
And
he's got to sleep on like a 5-footer for birdie at like 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. Like he's unconscious at this point already.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Plays another clean round on Saturday. I don't know if you have anything else leading into Sunday, but he shoots 65 on Saturday and enters Sunday with a 5-shot lead. Go ahead, PJ.
Well, you tweet this out on like Saturday at 1 p.m. Looking like a bad weekend for the Cameron Young haters and losers, of which there are many. Do you tweet this out so early? He's up by 7 at this point, I will say. However, this is like Saturday at 1 p.m. And I go, me personally, I would have done this, but I respect that you did. Everybody in the replies is like, oh my God, Will comes over the top. This is one of the boldest tweets that has ever been sent, and on a Saturday. This is at 2:06 p.m. So you tweeted it before that. You are starting the victory lap midway through Saturday. Like he's probably on like the front 9 on Saturday, and you're like, this is locked. This is done. Which honestly, I respect the hell out of. I'm too anxious to do that.
Well, yeah, not to get too serious about it, but like I think part of that was the whole narrative that Cam chokes every time was pretty much a faulty narrative, and he says this himself later in the week. Like the times he's been in the mix, he thinks he's played fine, and this is the most complete Cam has been, right? So I don't know how much serious analysis we want to do of Cam Young's game on this pod. We've done plenty, but like he's entering this tournament as a very complete player and playing exceptionally well.
On a heater. So, a complete heater. Like the best he's played in years at this point. Like none of this. So we make this point on the Sunday night episode that nobody should be surprised by this. The only surprising thing is that he actually got across the finish line this time, which again, nobody should be surprised by anyway.
Or that it's taken this long, right? Because he has the most runners up in PGA Tour history without a win up to this point. So Sunday morning starts, he's up by 5. You tweet at Trevor Immelman to just enjoy the show. I mean, we're starting to peacock a little bit. This one feels like it's already across the finish line. They interview him on the first tee. Do you remember this?
Was crazy. This was insane.
So Todd Lewis talks to Cam before the round starts, and they've been doing a little bit more of this year, like trying to get guys as they go onto the first tee, but they full-blown interview him, ask him about his plan for the day and everything. The guy's going for his first time with a 54-hole lead entering Sunday. Todd signs off with like, enjoy the walk, Cameron, which I was like, man, I don't think Cam's going to enjoy this walk, but he kind of does, right? Bogey's the first hole. Do you remember who he's playing with? I guarantee you do.
I actually do. I could even out my Jets rant from earlier because this is a Nico minute. This is it. We have a Nico minute after all.
He's playing with Nico Echevarria, and bogey's the first hole and then rattles off 5 birdies in a row. So, this is a tweet from you, the Aaron Rodgers RELAX after the first hole. The first hole was bad. It was not good. Hit just a terrible wedge in, and I was sweating already. Nico, I believe, missed a makeable birdie putt that would have gotten me very scared because we would have gone from 6 to 4, I think. 5 to 3.
5 to 3. Yeah. I would have gotten very worried had Nico birdied it, but I do remember the wedge on one being just absolutely terrible. And
also note he's 8 ahead of third. So this is sort of a 2-man tournament between him and Nico. So then rattles off 5 birdies. Great shotgun start tweet. Did I send this to you? So
no, I don't know if I can find it though. Which one?
So there is a deal going on at Sleepy Hollow where Cam learned to play. Apparently, they're doing discounts on drinks for every birdie that Cam makes and free drinks for an eagle. Open bar for an hour if he wins. And Brendan also, tweets this over the top that people are going to be getting absolutely plastered because Cam makes 5 birdies in a row between 2 and 6. So tough start. Immediately grabs the tournament back and really never looks back. This doesn't get close. PJ, I don't know how many notes you have, play-by-play type stuff of the round, but Cam basically cruises. He bogeys both 16 and 17.
I remember
6.
16 was the par 3 that they were fighting the wind for like a long time on the tee box. They could not decide what club to hit, and it ended up being the wrong answer. But I remember that being a long delay. But I think he made like 10 straight pars. He just like completely parked the bus.
Yeah. And I think he said that he wasn't trying to reel off a ton of birdies. Like, he was pretty confident just playing conservatively. One thing I loved, Cam didn't shy from what this tournament could potentially have meant. Do you have his comments from Saturday night going into Sunday where he acknowledges like, yeah, I want to make Bethpage, wasn't happy the last time? Go ahead and play that, PJ.
Obviously, I'd love to make it. It hurt pretty bad to miss it a couple of years ago. I was 9th on the points list and didn't get picked, so I was a bit frustrated with that, and set out the year to give our captain no choice. And I don't know if I'm in a position to do that or not, but it would take some really good golf between now and then. But if I'm in the question, that's been a big goal of mine, and I'd love to put myself there anyway.
Gets it done, wins by 6, and as he's walking off the 18th green, says, "Where do I go now? I've never done this before." Just an awesome self-aware moment from Cam. Finally gets it done. Mr. 1000. PJ, what else do you have?
Well, I have this from you, which again, great tweet. Well out ahead of time. Cameron Young winning can only mean one thing. Justin Herbert is about to have a monster season. I mean, he's like 3rd in MVP odds. It's the best he's ever. People are saying that he's the best quarterback in the league. I think this is pretty good by you. You're out in front of this. You nailed this.
They're the same type of athlete, right? Like, not a joke. When this is the type that the people who are into the data and analytics, they'll defend Cameron Young despite not getting it across the finish line. Same thing with Justin Herbert, right? Like, if he's ever given a little bit of help around him, he's going to have team success. So I do think it's an appropriate comparison. Don't know that it's aged maybe as well as I would have hoped, but I mean, Justin Herbert's having a good season, so I'll take it.
It's the best season of his career. He's going to make the playoffs. Like, it's hard to be mad at it. This is like peak Chris Gotterup. He also plays well at 3M last week, so everybody is like all up in arms. Chris Gotterup's making the Ryder Cup team, which in retrospect, like, maybe he should have, but Brendan tweets out a Sopranos meme when there's one Ryder Cup spot up for grabs and it's down to Gotterup versus Cam Young, Jersey versus New York, families meeting. I just appreciated that. That was great. The PGA Tour puts out their graphic. After 7 career runner-up finishes, Cameron Young wins by 6 at the Wyndham. You go over the top, best player since Tiger. Some people are saying it.
Some people are saying it. We'll get more into the people who weren't saying that.
We will
shortly.
This is where Brendan starts to unpack
the
Mr. 1000 number. Josh Carpenter tweets out the graphic on CBS about how we arrived at 999. CBS is certainly peacocking 1000 a little bit all day Sunday because they know it's going to happen. This is a coronation. Some people were on this early. I don't want to name names, us, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. But it says that the PGA Tour, started in 1928, or the first winner here pops up at 1899, but they mark off 1928 as like the big unique winner year. And Josh says, friggin' wild graphic. The PGA Tour was formed in the late 1960s. Brendan goes over the top of that with a picture of, I don't know who this is, but a guy with a hickory club and a niblick and an old beard. And he goes, thinking about those FedEx Cup points. And Brendan cannot handle, just blatantly cannot handle what is happening. PGA Tour tweets out the Wilt photo, which again, when you talk about things that were just willed into existence, Cameron Young in the locker room at Sedgefield holding up a piece of paper that says 1,000, like he's Wilt Chamberlain. And then they tweeting it out is one of the greatest things to ever happen, probably in my life. And Brendan is the top reply, and he just goes, this is so preposterous. No fun league, Brendan Porath is not allowed to let anybody have nice things, immediately has to step in and start disparaging whatever accounting we got to hear.
Do you have the clip of Brendan from SGS that night?
Yes,
disparaging? I do. Go ahead and play it. I think this is an appropriate time for it. This is pretty gross.
I just have some disturbing news for you, PJ. This number 1,000.
you're gonna tell me it's fake. I don't really care. Can't take it
built
away.
on a complete house of cards, lies, absolute PGA Tour malfeasance. You know, once I started going nuts about Jim Nance, was like, this goes back to 1860. Willie Park Sr. winning at Prestwick. The PGA Tour does not exist. It's not a PGA Tour winner. Get out of here. We're talking about complete made-up events. In 1924, you have courses at the Lido, something in the 1920s at the Lido Country Club where no money was like Andrew Domain, guy you've never heard of.
I'd expect someone who doesn't like beaches to come and try and piss into two guys' Cheerios right after they basically wish something into existence.
That's not
their
true.
positive. Their positive energy and manifestation of capabilities wished Cameron Young becoming the 1,000th unique winner into existence, and here you are, 3 hours after sitting around trying to poke holes.
You know who's on the
Cam Young's 1,000th win?
One of the 1,000th, Andy, just so I can get you on my side real quick. Willie Smith. You know what Willie Smith won according to the tour? The 1899 BMW Championship is how they have it listed. The 1899 BMW. This tour is a joke. This number is a complete embarrassment. You can make your 1,000 shirt. The BMW Championship in 1899. The complete. This is not reality. This is a joke. But I'm happy for you. I'm happy for Cam Young. I just think we need some sensibility in the accounting of this issue. So I think I've got you around. The BMW Championship. This is how.
Just
Gross.
terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. Honestly, it's uncalled for. It's uncalled for.
It's gross. Do we want to get into some of the other clips?
Yeah, we got a lot.
We have a lot to unload. I know we're way over the time that we budgeted here.
It's fine.
What do you want to lead with next, PJ?
Well, we again accurately say that this should come as a surprise to nobody. If you've been following golf, if you've been following Cameron Young, this is just merely a coronation of the work that has been put in for the last 6 months, and everybody wants to just come on now. Everybody wants to just get on board. Oh my God, he's got to be on the Ryder Cup team. He's playing great golf. Look at how great this is. Oh, we got to get our Masters futures in for next year, and we're not having any of this. And to this day, I'm still not having any of it.
Yeah, well, all the people now who are jumping on board the Cameron Young train, we heard everything you said over the last couple of years.
Left
so
the station. Goodbye.
We're good on all that.
Oh,
yeah,
a lot of people changing their tunes.
That is a great call out. This bandwagon is not open for business.
It's not. We heard everything everyone said, and now everyone's saying, "Oh, we always knew he was going to be good." That is not true. That's not what they said.
No. Shut it down. Like, you got to show receipts. You got to show gambling losses. You got to show some evidence of something over the last 4 years that you've been here, because we're done. We are done here.
By the way, PJ, this is absolutely going to happen coming into next year.
Oh,
he's going to be the trendy pick at all the majors. And these are the same people who tweeted very negatively about Cam Young in the past. So let's just get out in front of that now.
He's like plus 170 to win a major next year. It's like all of these people who are just showing up and knocking on the door. Oh, Cam Young is live at Augusta. Cam Young has always been live at Augusta. You're just realizing this now. Sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Good luck with that.
Yeah, we have long memories. So
we do.
And we'll get to that.
And we'll get to that.
Do we want to talk about one of the most underrated reasons that Cam may have won this week? Is it an appropriate time?
Yeah, I don't think it's underrated. I think it might be the reason, as we get to in this clip.
Yeah, I don't want to oversell, but I think this might be my favorite 2 minutes of SGS of the entire year.
All right, here we go. We're just going to play the full thing.
People are,
Sure, he was going to test it. This is from after 40, or Cam Young worked with 40 pits. What a name. On different prototypes. We weren't sure he was going to test it, but as he was warming up, he asked to hit a couple on the range, 40 pits said. He was then curious to see some shots out on the course, according to 40 Pitts. The practice round started with Young hitting the V1 left dot, his previous ball in the V1X Proto, but he stopped using the left dot by the second hole. It was just the V1X Proto from that point forward. Then came the shot that sold Young with the prototype, according to 40 Pitts. Absolutely dead at the flag, and sorry. Faced with a par 3, the 40 Pitts is really throwing me off. I've been adding it all over the place. Faced with a par 3 that normally played between 184 and 225 during the tournament, Young figured he'd need a 5-iron to get there. But just for the hell of it, he grabbed the 6, according to 40. Then he hits the 6-iron. Absolutely dead at the flag, and it lands right next to the pin, ending up just past it. And his response to 40 Pitts was remarkable. He couldn't believe he got that club there. Young was sold. So according to 40 Pitts, this ball is going a full club further for Cam Young. Just what he needs. I think everybody should go get a little session with 40 Pitts.
I agree. Yeah. So, I mean, 40 had one hand on the trophy today, as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Pitts. I just love this.
Should 40 Pitts be Mr. 1000?
Maybe.
That's what I was just going to say. I need to get 40 a T-shirt at the very least. I mean,
That's the end of the 40 clip. Honestly, I laugh. I've watched it probably 50 times. But PJ, we totally buried the lead here. You're wearing the 1000 hat in that video and the Mr. 1000 shirt. Do you want to give a quick synopsis of getting those shirts together? Because that was an absolutely incredible story.
yeah, sure. I have the clip, so we can play the clip briefly, and then I'll give the behind the scenes for people who forgot.
Shortly,
It's too long to get here.
just about a month after the lunch with the boys, he delivers. He gets it done.
Yeah.
BJ's got a Mr. 1000
got a custom
shirt.
T-shirt made. If you're watching, and a hat. What is going on here?
Mr. 1000 T-shirt and a hat. Don't worry, Joseph. Not leaving you behind. Yours will be in the mail tomorrow morning.
You know some sort of T-shirt printer?
I made them myself.
Where? When?
Made it this morning.
This morning? You
This
jumped
morning.
the gun.
Made them myself. Never a doubt.
Cameron Young, Mr. 1000 T-shirt. I was like, this.
So that's the T-shirt. So I'm on a mad dash Sunday morning. I go, we have to do something. We have to commemorate this somehow. I go to Michael's, the craft store. I'm like looking for, they're out of the screen printer paper. I go get printer ink. They're out of the screen printer paper. I go to 4 different stores. I end up at a Staples, like really far away, just to get this printer paper. I'm looking for something that I can make a hat out of. They only have these ridiculous fuzzy glitter numbers. So I was like, all right, well, that's it. We have to do it. So yeah, I spent probably like 2 or 3 hours on Sunday morning acquiring these supplies. And I think I made them before he even teed off, truthfully. I think I was just prepared. I was ready. This had to be commemorated somehow. We needed to have something big for the show this night. And, I'm just glad that everybody liked them. Shout out to Barry Sakumba for making the graphic. It's a wonderful photo of Cam with the fire rings, because there were fire rings all week. I mean, he was making 5 straight birdies every time he looked at something. Yeah, I mean, that's just, some days that you got to come with 99 on the black, and this was one of those days.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah, so you show up to the pod, shirt and hat already made, and I appreciate, yes, you did ship me a shirt as well. I wish I had known that we were doing this pod. I would have brought it with me. But just incredible day. Other things from that day, Ian Baker Finch retires. Yep. That's his last day on the air. And then other notable finishes. PJ, do you know? Oh, there's the
IBF.
Yeah. cool moment. I mean, he did
very nice. Very, very nice. Brendan did try to give us shit that our coronation was just preempted by the IBF show, which, to be completely honest, maybe it was a little bit. However, I understand. I get it, and I concede. But it was very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Ian Baker Finch that all anyone's going to remember about the Wyndham is the birth of golf's new superstar. But you know what? You can't always pick when you retire.
I'm actually glad that he got to see it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good spin.
I'm glad that as one legend retires, another is born. That's what I'm glad.
Passing of the torch. Only other stuff I really have before we get to, I think, our final segment, and you might have some other, ammo to unload here, but Jackson Coyven finishes tied for 5th.
I actually thought it would have been better. I didn't look up the leaderboard, but I remember he was the only other relevant thing going on, that he played really, really well on Sunday, especially.
And Nico finished tied for 19th. Was not as good of a day for Nico. He kind of melts down in the final group.
I do remember that. I do remember. Oh my God, he's out of the top 20 at one point. Yeah. I couldn't tell. I think Mac Meissner came in second. If I had to remember, that's it. That's all I got.
I mean, well, everyone else was so far behind. Cam won by 6, bogeying 2 of his last 3. It didn't matter. It still doesn't matter. I
do want to play this from Sunday's episode on you, though. Again, little Herbo foresight. This is great foresight from you. We're in the throes of Ryder Cup discussion at this week, and I'm just going to play this.
If you pick Spieth, you're hoping he plays solidly at Bethpage, and I think the best you're getting is like a decent performance. Maybe gets 2 points and then 2.5 points, something like that. Cameron Young has the type of upside where you can lean on him. There's a potential he might play badly, but he might become a star for you. Go out and get 3.5 points, shred people. And I would be thinking about it that way at the back end. Cameron Young and 4 balls, going out and making a bunch of birdies. You're just not getting that kind of upside with Spieth. So I think it's a really uninspiring choice if they go with Jordan, unless he shows something over the next 3 weeks.
Pretty good by you.
I like we're playing the hits today. There's a lot of bad clips you could play, things that haven't aged as well. But let's just keep it to the stuff that's aged well. I like this podcast.
I'm just saying, you gotta take the wins where you can get them. And this was a ginormous win. Do we want to get into that now? We want to pull some.
This is how we're closing the episode, right? Do we have anything else from the Wyndham before we get to our final segment?
Well, one thing that comes out Sunday night into Monday morning is that the PGA Tour debuts the perfect 30 for the FedEx Cup.
I forgot about this.
That you have to predict the 30 people at the Tour Championship in order of finish at the Tour Championship. And you only get $1 million. I say only because the odds of this happening, somebody calculated this. Like, the odds of this, I wish I had the exact DM, but somebody DM'd the SGS Instagram account with the exact calculations. It was there is a greater probability of the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs circling back and killing all of us than you doing this correctly. And yes, $1 million is obviously a ton of money, but you should get the global GDP if you were able to pull this off. And I can't believe how this was even marketed as a thing that was possible.
PJ, one thing I've learned over the last couple of years, we don't want the PGA Tour to clean up their act. We don't want prizes that make more sense. We don't want Monahan to leave. If you care about content and that's the most important thing to you, which I think that should be the most important thing for everybody.
Yes, I agree.
Everybody. Then the perfect 30 was wonderful. A good contest does nothing for us. But yes, that did come out Sunday night.
But that was great. That was just great. I feel like we needed to. We're not going to discuss the playoffs because they're not real. Congrats to Tommy Fleetwood, I guess, for winning the Hero with more sponsorship money. But we had to throw that out there that $1 million is not nearly enough for the statistical. I won't even call it improbability, impossibility of doing that.
You had to get them correct from 50 down, right? It wasn't just picking 1 through 30 correctly. You also had to pick who advanced to the Tour Championship correctly.
Yes, from the 70s. So you had to and I remember we did an audit last year, and I assume it stayed true for this year. But if you're in like the top 20, it's virtually impossible to fall out of the top 30. But then like you had to accurately predict that Tommy Fleetwood was going to win the Tour Championship. Who the hell would do that? Like, who the hell would have thought that? Like, I don't, just to even begin with. And then you got to get everything else right. But I do just would like to note that in the record books, Scottie Scheffler and Cameron Young had the exact same year, according to the PGA Tour.
Sure.
Fourth place in the FedEx Cup. That's all I'm saying.
And not according to the Ryder Cup.
That's all I'm saying. And also not according to the Ryder Cup.
Do we want to get into our final segment? Maybe close out.
Yes.
This is the last segment of 2025 on this feed, right?
Yeah, last segment of 2025. If you've made it this far, we appreciate you because, again, neither of us knew how this was going to go. But I've had fun. I hope you've had fun.
Yeah, let's get into, what are we calling it? Receipts Corner?
Yeah, Receipts Corner.
Within the spirit of Cam Young, finally, a lot of takes age poorly. We forget those. The ones that age well, we're going to highlight those. And we were, took a lot of flack over the years for being pro Cam Young and probably for other things. But let's just get into some of the receipts. PJ, can we pull up a receipt?
Please. This is your personal favorite.
Oh, yeah. So I posted that it's cool to watch Cameron Young become a legitimately great player now that he's a good putter. And I got quote tweeted from PGA Splits 101.
This is, I believe, Saturday, maybe Friday or Saturday of the U.S. Open. He's hot.
U.S.
right
Open,
now.
June.
Playing well.
Mid-June, yes. Got a quote tweet over the top of me. He's 51st in Detroit right now after a 52nd last week. So that this is posted several weeks later, going back to dunk on me. As I said, until his ball striking gets more consistent, Cameron Young is nowhere near great. And I don't know if you have some of the replies as well, PJ, but there's just a bunch of replies. Cook him. Yes. Like Joseph has no idea what he's talking about. So I'd like to submit that into the public record for Receipts Corner. Do you have some receipts of your own? That's
a great. I'm going to go back to the original Mr. 1000 tweet posted on Monday after the Open when the PGA leaks that this is going to be Mr. 1000. So I find just a random picture that I think this is from maybe the Masters of Cam that I had saved on my phone. I just go, here we go. Mr. 1000. Very simply puts it out there.
Yeah.
First reply, he's no Chris Gotterup. I go, yeah, he's from New York. He's not. He's not from New Jersey, the armpit of America. He's from New York. Sorry, Chris Gotterup. You've won twice already at this point. Didn't make the Ryder Cup team. Hate to see it. You got your TGL win over Cam. Congrats. Good for you. Tommy is 100 times better than this guy. Wrong. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Albert Einstein. Wrong. Simply from Doug E. Fresh with a Bo Nix profile picture. Ha is what I have to say anytime Bo Nix has to throw downfield. Yeah, maybe if 155 of the players this week WD. That one has some likes. People like that one.
Who tweeted that one?
That was golfer Chris 14. This guy, Bernie Mac, has a better chance to win this week than Cam Young because Bernie Mac obviously starred in the hit movie Mr. 3000. I won't go back into terrible baseball movie corner here after Major League 3 back to the minors. Everybody loved that segment. But Bernie Mac, unfortunately, did not win. Cameron Young did. Put some respect on the lad's name. Everybody just loving Tommy Fleetwood these days. We had to get through another Tommy Fleetwood heartbreaking choke before we even, again, got to an event in which he beat 29 other guys. Some people would question beating 29 other guys versus a full field of 156. But, some people would throw that out there. I don't know who. Just saying. And then this is the Chris Gotterup one again. So I just wanted to throw out there that, with all due respect to Tommy Fleetwood, I like Tommy Fleetwood. He's a great player. Mr. 1001 does not have the same ring to it. Also, he beat 29 guys. So,
and let this just be a warning that we do keep receipts. And I hopefully this is a recurring segment. So if you want to respond, just know that you could end up being featured on the show. And these are not all anonymous Twitter accounts. Sometimes the calls come from in the house, from people you respect, from people you work with. PJ, do you have that receipt?
Hey, Lamagna suggesting it's Scottie, Rory, and then Cam Young was kind of an insane statement.
It was insane, but I understand where he's coming from. On the second half of the year,
garbage
I think he's
iron player this year, but like you just said,
but the season long numbers are incorporating the first half of the year when he literally couldn't hit anything.
He's not here to defend himself,
but we're here now.
We are here now.
That is
Brendan Porath. That's the name, right? That is Brendan Porath of the Shotgun Start, making fun of us for thinking that Cameron Young is the third best player on the PGA Tour, which I will concede Tommy Fleetwood played a little bit better than Cam at the end of the year, but
he quite literally ended up fourth. So.
It's not crazy. It's not crazy to suggest that he's the third best player on the PGA Tour right now. So
no, it's not. And you want to go with this one? This one was one of my favorites. You tweet out the day after the Wyndham, list the golfers you feel confident will outperform Cameron Young over the next 3 weeks on the PGA Tour. As we've discovered, the list of those people is 3 people long. This guy, Josh Thompson, has a list of how many is this?
14?
18? A lot. Scottie, Rory, Xander, Fleetwood, Thomas, Aberg, Fitz, Henley, Matsuyama, Morikawa, Cantlay, Hovland, Burns, Aaron Rye, who got shoved in a body bag at the Wyndham by Cameron Young, by the way, Ben Griffin, and Sepp Straka.
There you go, Josh. Welcome to the show.
Come on. We just have to be serious people here for a second.
So there you go. That is Receipts Corner. I think it is a fitting way to end the year, PJ. I think I got through everything I had in my notes, and we promised to be 40 minutes. 40 in honor of Mr. Pitts, and we are at 90. So mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. I'm just happy that we were given. I would like to thank Andy and Brendan, despite their disbelief, giving us the platform to rightfully honor the year's 5th major. Again, an iconic win by a PGA Tour superstar at a Donald Ross venue in North Carolina. We are just, those don't come around often. So we have to make sure that we can get them. And back-to-back years, I would argue that the Wyndham provided more content than any other PGA Tour event for the year in review. So maybe we all need to start respecting the Wyndham a little.
It might be the 4th major, to be honest.
Honestly, well, the 4th major this year gave us Don. So maybe not in 2025, potentially in 2026. Luke Donald fought back at Don. I'm sure we'll get into that next week a little bit now too. But how would you like to finish this off?
I think that episode encapsulated what I love about golf and this podcast and being a listener well before ever coming on. The inanities, the silliness, the takes that age well, the takes that don't age well. I think we did him justice, and I am sincerely really excited to see what Cam does in 2026. I'm not going to go like he's absolutely a top 5 player in the world. I don't think that he probably hangs out somewhere between 5 and 10, but things change quickly. And I'm really, really excited to see if that putter keeps up and what he does next year. So I felt like this was a fitting way to end the year. PJ, appreciate you kind of steering here. Do you have any closing thoughts for 2025?
No, I would just like to thank everybody for coming along on this ride with the boys. Home Alone 3, 4. I don't know how many Home Alones there are, but I think there's 3. So we'll call it Home Alone 4, Lost with the Boys, year in review part 10. Got through the Wyndham, celebration of Mr. 1000. Thank you all for your continued support of the Shotgun Start. Andy and Brendan will be back next week in 2026. Have a safe, happy, and healthy new year. We will be back with you very soon.